Today is my 2-year anniversary of deciding to do art again after a 4-5 year long break. And I wanted to share my journey with creativity on here in long form. I've talked about it a little bit on Instagram before, just in captions and stuff like that, but you can only share so much. I guess just a little thesis synopsis. I did art my whole life, loved creating when I was young, went to like a small private school, got some attention for creating, whatever, loved it. My passion, safe space, loved it. Went to art school for university, Emily Carr University of Art and Design in Vancouver, Canada. And then somewhere along the way, I started hating being a creative person. I thought it was the most embarrassing thing. And I will circle back around to all this. I just want to give you a quick synopsis. But it was the most embarrassing thing. I stopped creating, refused to create, lied about going to art school to everybody. So I couldn't create for about 5 years. I was just so embarrassed of being a creative person. I didn't want anyone to think of me that way. So I just hid that part of me away. And then when I wanted to start creating again, I was so scared that I couldn't do it anymore because creating was kind of this one thing that I always knew I was good at or decent at, that people would always be like, oh, you have a gift and that sort of thing. And I felt like I had thrown that gift away probably because I didn't appreciate it. I probably lost my ability to create altogether. So I was too scared to try again. Finally, some things changed and I started creating again 2 years ago. By September, I started posting on Instagram and online. People wanted to buy my pieces. October, I made a website, sold some pieces. In November, I quit my job and became a full-time artist. So the trajectory has been wild. I'm so grateful that it has worked out for me so incredibly well. A lot of people thought I was making a huge mistake quitting my job. I had a good job with the municipal government and I was also going to grad school for city planning. So, okay, let me start from the beginning now. Slow it down, explain a little bit. When I was growing up, I went to White Rock Christian Academy. It's a little private school in White Rock, which is a small beach town, like an hour from Vancouver, British Columbia. I started doing art probably, I don't know, like when I was a little kid, you draw, you paint, you do that sort of stuff. But I started loving it when I was about 7, 8, I would say. I started taking extra classes outside of school and that sort of stuff. And it was just like an escape for me. I was a really weird little kid, really shy, and just insane anxiety, like crazy anxiety. I couldn't really function. I had a really hard time going to school, doing literally anything. I was really focused like and obsessed with being like morally good. Like the entire day, I'm thinking I'm gonna do something wrong. Like if anyone's talking to me, I'm like all the worst things I could possibly say are coming into my head. If I entered a store to go like grocery shopping with my mom, the whole time I'm there, I'm like feeling like I'm gonna throw up because I think that I'm going to steal something, which is like obviously not, I'm not gonna steal something. If I don't want to, I have free will. But I just like the entire time would be panicking that I'm gonna steal something. And then once we left the store, it's like I'm thinking in my head like I stole something and I'm like convincing myself that I stole something. It was kind of crazy. And then same thing, I thought I was like always gonna murder somebody, like just constantly, couldn't sleep. Like I made all these rules for like stuff I couldn't do so that I wouldn't do these bad things. But in my head, I was just getting tortured 24/7 thinking I'm gonna do these things. I also had really bad social anxiety, so I couldn't like talk to people that well and stuff like that. So I was like kind of like just a loner kid. And the enemy was my own brain. Like being in my own head was literal torture. I just hated it. And I also always felt guilty that I couldn't just enjoy life and enjoy playing and being like other kids. I just felt like so weird and like something was so severely wrong with me. And I hated existing. I hated being awake. Like it was just awful every second of every day. And the only time that I could turn my brain off, like there was no escape, even watching movies, anything like that, the entire time I'm just thinking these thoughts. The only time I could turn my brain off was creating. I guess like at school and that sort of thing for me, because I was like a loner, I was really embarrassed. I've always been really embarrassed my whole life of myself. And just everything I find like so embarrassing. Now it's a lot better, but I didn't mind being alone, but it's just like people seeing me alone, like a loser, made me feel embarrassed. So if I was drawing, it felt like I was doing something, and I also just felt like I entered a different dimension when I was drawing, and I didn't have to be in my head. I wasn't worrying. I wasn't me. I was just drawing, creating something that's outside of where I actually am and my situation in my brain. Like, it just was building this other world, and I loved that. And then I didn't notice people noticing me while I was creating. It was just me and my creation, and I felt so happy and at peace when I was creating. And then also, like, I started getting some recognition for it, and then people would want me to do pieces, little pieces for them, or like kids would want me to draw them, or like that sort of thing. So then it became this connection piece where I'm like, oh, this is how I can connect with people, and I don't have to feel like I'm not hyper analyzing myself when it's about art. I've always been fine, even in conversations. Like, I still have pretty bad anxiety, and like I've felt so awkward interacting with people like so much of my life. But over the last 2 years of doing art again, I've gotten so much more confident. And I think a lot of it has to do with so many of my conversations when I've been meeting new people have been about art. And for some reason, when it's about art, I'm just so relaxed, and that's just like my most comfortable space to be in. Like, it feels like, I don't know. Now I'm not embarrassed of it, but then there was a long period where I was embarrassed of it. So anyways, that is kind of my relationship with art since I was a kid. It's so sacred to me and so special. When you start doing art, a lot of the times you're doing realism, and you're doing like portraits and landscapes and that sort of thing, because I feel like that's where a lot of people start. And then when people are like, oh, you're really good at this, then you kind of venture into creating your own work. I hate it when people look at art that's more modern art or more abstract, and they're like, oh, they just put a couple squiggles on a canvas. Like, this isn't real art. They think that person isn't talented, or that person isn't putting in effort. But so many artists, a majority of artists, I would say, start off as people who are good at recreating exactly what they see in front of them, doing realism. And then they get further and further from that traditional form of art, because the most exciting thing in art is to create something that is completely yours, and to take the skill and then all the inspiration from other artists and what you see around you and what's in your life, and make this big, jumbled, beautiful thing that is your own creation. That's the most exciting part of art, for me at least, and I think a lot of other artists. So anyways, I did a lot of realism and that sort of thing, and people would be like, this is so good, whatever. But I always felt like when I was doing that, when I was like a teenager and whatever, I would say like, I'm not creative though. Like, I'm only copying what I see, maybe making some changes, or like taking a couple things I've seen and making it one piece, but I'm not creative because I'm taking other elements that are already in the world and just recreating them. That's not creative. I felt like I really was not creative, I would say that. And it wasn't so much because I was embarrassed of being creative back then. I think I just truly felt like I couldn't be good at something. Like, I felt like I wasn't allowed to be good at something, and just anytime anyone was giving me credit for it, I just felt like they can't be right. I don't know. Like, I feel like being creative gave me, and like getting recognition for it gave me more confidence, but at the same time, I just couldn't accept the compliments and that sort of thing. Anyways. So then I kind of was seeing somebody, and he was going to art school, Emily Carr. And then also my art teacher was awesome, and she was so encouraging with me, and she was like, you gotta go to art school, whatever. So I didn't know what I was gonna do after I graduated. I wasn't really like great at anything else. I also wasn't very academic. Fun side story, I've never been diagnosed with dyslexia, but if you have me on Instagram, you know that I can't spell for shit. My captions are out of control. The spelling errors are off the charts. If I ever reread a text or an email I've sent someone, it's the most embarrassing shit I've ever seen, ever experienced. I cannot spell. So when I was a little kid, I also like went to learning disability for not being able to spell or whatever. So I thought I was really stupid. And also just my siblings are all incredibly smart. Like, we're talking, both my brothers graduated with like 4.3 GPAs. My sister skipped grades. Like, they're all brilliant academic types. I, on the other hand, one, it didn't really try that much academically with school. I just wanted to make art and play sports, and those were kind of my things. So I decided to go to art school, and I didn't know what else to do with my life because I thought it was stupid. So I didn't really want to try anything else. I didn't like apply to any other universities or anything like that. And I just felt like doing something creative was my only option. I think maybe that's part of why I started to resent it. So I knew like you can't just be like, I'm gonna be an artist. Like nobody makes it as an artist. I always heard that. It's like, people literally told me like, if you go to art school and like do fine arts, have fun being a barista for the rest of your life. Like you'll be working at Starbucks after you graduate and for the eternity of time, unless you want to be an art teacher. So I decided to go to art school, but that I was going to take design, like communication and design, to do like graphic design, that sort of thing. So first year you do some design, some fine art, and then something else. I don't remember what the other one was, like animation sort of stuff. I hated doing design. I hate working on computers. I already have a hard time with commissions sometimes with another person trying to tell me what to do, or like me needing to like tailor my work into their vision. Graphic design is a million times worse because you have someone like really breathing down your neck. I've never done it professionally, but just at art school at least, it's like, this is what they want you to create, and like your vision and your ideas is such a small part of it. It feels like to me when I was trying to do it. So I also just love working with my hands and creating something physical. So just, it wasn't for me. I think I did first year and then like one semester of second year. I hated design so much, and in my head like doing fine art wasn't an option. So I had become really embarrassed of being creative at this point. So I decided to drop out of art school. Now, to why I became so embarrassed of creating, it was really, really extreme. Like I hated the part of me that was creative. I did not want to be that way at all. And I think it was, I felt like I was really dumb. I felt like I was not respected in some ways. I know a lot of this was in my head, like just around like people in my life, because I wasn't smart or academic or business minded and all of these things that a lot of people in my life were. And also there were a lot of conversations around being left brain versus right brain, and being more of like an emotional, sensitive, creative person versus like a really logical, black and white, business kind of minded person. And I was always this one, and like it was just not really celebrated in the same way in some situations I was in, whatever. So I began to hate this part of me. And also like I was in some conversations that were around like, you can't make decisions for yourself and you're not a good decision maker because this is the way you think, and you make decisions out of emotional thought processes and more abstract thought processes versus being really logical and black and white. So I started to hate this part of me that was this left brain, I think it is, or maybe it's right brain, I don't even know, but the creative part, because I blamed that on me not being like respected in some ways, and also just not being quote unquote good at decision maker and all of these things. So I decided I wanted to do everything in my power to become the logical, black and white, corporate, stone cold girly. And I just tried so hard to be this other personality type. And I took Myers-Briggs test my whole life, and they always told me I was a INFP, which is like when you take the test and it tells you that there's literally a fairy at the end of it. And I was like, I hate this fairy. I hate this Myers-Briggs answer. Like that's not me. I wanted to be the logical, black and white, stone cold type. They're not all stone cold, but like that's just what I wanted to be. At this point, I'm about 21, I want to say. Maybe 20. I had hated creating for, I don't know, it was brewing. Then I'm just lifeguarding. I took a year off and then was trying to figure out what to do. I wanted to, like, there were a million different things I wanted to try. I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to, like, just be so corporate, and I'm not. Like, unfortunately, not my strength. But I really wanted to be smart. I wanted to be smart and I wanted to be respected. And I really didn't want to go back and do a year and a half of school somewhere else in a different subject, field, whatever. And then Emily Carr, the art school, doesn't transfer to anywhere else. So finally I thought, because I was working for the city of Surrey actually at this time, I thought, okay, I could just work my way up in this municipality because there's a union that's good and everything like that. But to like even work your way up into like a programmer job out of lifeguarding, you need a degree. So I was like, okay, I could just go back and finish my fine arts degree, blitz through it. I still had like 2.5 semesters left. And then not do art with it. Make sure everybody there knows I'm not here to do art. I'm just here to get the degree. I want nothing to do with this creative bullshit. And so that's what I decided to do. Actually, before this, I went to community college for 1 semester just to make sure this was what I wanted to do. So Emily Carr doesn't transfer to any other university. So if I go anywhere else and start a new degree, I would have to start from my square one first semester. I go to community college and Kwantlen it's called, and I take a art history class and a fine arts class and an English class, I think. When I went to Emily Carr, I got put in ESL English because I can't spell to save my life. And I think that really took a toll on my confidence as well. I'll tell that story another time because it's so funny. I especially can't spell if I have to write, and they made us write an exam. It's a long story, but yeah, I got put in ESL English. I got a 4.3, I did so well. And then when I was doing art, I actually was like, okay, maybe I'm just gonna do art here, and like, I don't like art and I don't do art, but like, since I'm here and like, it's just community college, no one's gonna tell anyone that I'm making art. I'll just like, for this 1 semester in this 1 class, I'm gonna make some stuff. So I made some cool pieces and I had fun and just let myself experiment and enjoy it. And people were like telling me how good it was and whatever. And that like felt kind of good, but I was like, I don't really do art, but like, I'm just for fun, whatever. So then I go back to art school the next semester and I asked the dean if I could take 7 courses. I was like, my mental health is flawless, phenomenal. It was so bad, in the gutter. I'm trying not to. And I am asking to take 7 courses. I'm also working 40 hours a week at the pool. And the school is an hour and 15-minute drive from where I lived. So I'm burnt out at this time, but I was like, I just need to get this degree done as quickly as possible. I went right through the summer. I think the my last 3 years I did in like 18 months or something like that. It was chaotic. And I was like, I'm not making any art while I'm at art school. I'm not making any art. I'm not touching a paintbrush. I did a weird degree that's called like critical and cultural practices. And so it's a lot of like sociology kind of classes. And then you do need to take still a certain amount of studio classes. So I was taking all like the creative writing classes, the multidisciplinary classes where you can kind of like do something that's not visual art, whatever. I was taking all those classes because I was like, I am not touching a paintbrush or a piece of clay. Like there's no way. And in every class, I told everyone, like, I'm only here to get the degree. I'm gonna be a programmer. I'm gonna do something for the city of Surrey. I'm not being an artist. I don't care about being an artist. I was crazy. And like, the funny thing was, I'm still so shy at this point. I still have such bad anxiety. I don't talk to really anyone. I made like 1 friend at this school. I wish I could go back and get to know people and make friends and actually engage in the school and try. Like, it would be a dream to go back to art school. That sounds wonderful, and use the resources, the incredible tools, and I wish, but I can't, so it's fine. I always thought that other people at the school were so cool. My whole life I've thought that everyone else is better than me, and I'm just literally embarrassed to exist. But I thought everyone else was so cool. Like, there were so many incredibly talented people there, and I thought it was awesome for them. I've never thought being creative is embarrassing for anyone else, and I've never thought it's a negative for anyone else, or that it means they're not smart or they're not capable. For me, that is just how I felt about myself, but not about anyone else. So I thought creative was super embarrassing, but not for them. They made dope stuff. People made such cool art at the school, and I was just like, I don't do that. I'm at art school and I'm like, I'm not an art, like, get that shit away from me. Like, I do not create, like, that's embarrassing. Not for me, not for me. And everyone's like, why are you here? And I'm like, I don't know, guys, I just need to get the degree, like, not for me. Here's how badly I did not want to be at art school. I convinced the dean to let me do in my last year for one of the semesters, let me do a internship or whatever they're called, co-op. With the city of Surrey. So that was my plan, so I didn't have to do a bunch of these studio courses. And then COVID happened and I couldn't do anything with the city. So I emailed her and said, look, since I can't do my co-op, can I please take a bunch of courses through Thompson River, which is the online university out here. They don't usually transfer in to Emily Carr, but I said, given the situation, since I was supposed to do this co-op and now it's canceled, can I just take a bunch of classes like marketing, city planning, English classes, and transfer them in because I don't want to take any of this art bullshit. And she said yes. So I got this degree, did barely any art, and I took a bunch of classes through another university and transferred them in, even though they didn't transfer. She was cool, but I mean, if it were me, I would have forced me to do some art. So that's what I did my last year. Barely went to this school. Like I was doing everything in my power to get an art degree without going to art school. Like it was just crazy. So COVID's going on, then I graduate, and I had decided I wanted to be a city planner. Because I'm like, that is a good job. Those are some smart homies. I applied to do my master's at SFU in city planning. Of course, they're like, babe, you have a fine art degree. Like everyone going into this program is like people with an architecture degree, geography, engineering. And I'm like, I got a fine arts degree, but like I lifeguarded for the city. So like, I don't know. I feel like my intentions are great. And they let me in, but to the graduate diploma program, and then you can transfer into your master's. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do my master's. What's wrong with me? Because as soon as I got there, I was like, this is so embarrassing. And like, I also thought being a lifeguard was so embarrassing. Like I was like, everything about me that I did, I thought was so embarrassing, but I didn't think it was embarrassing for anyone else. And I didn't think it was embarrassing before I did it. But as soon as I get there, I'm like, this is not good enough. This is so embarrassing. So I'm doing this degree at Simon Fraser University. And I think it's embarrassing now, but I'm doing city planning and I freaking hate it. I hate it. And I'm not bad at it. Like I still graduated with like a 3.8 from there, but I have to try really hard and it's not my strong suit. Also just sitting in classrooms, I'm like really one of those people, you can probably see me talking right now. It's like I move a lot and I'm not great at just sitting still. I got engaged. I planned my whole wedding while I was in these classes. I was always doing something other than the actual classes, but I still did decent at the school. I was just like, frick, I hate this. And like, this is what I want to do for a career. Like, this is gonna suck, but I still was like, I'm gonna do it. Then I got a different job with the city of Surrey doing the programmer stuff that I originally wanted to finish my degree for. So that's great. Also start doing it. And I'm like, I do not enjoy this. I do not enjoy this at all, sitting at a desk. So now I'm sitting at school at a desk, at a computer. And then I'm going to work and sitting at a desk and a computer. And I wanted to, it was awful. I didn't actually want, like I was fine. My mental health is actually getting better at this point because I met a wonderful human, Winston, my husband, and he just hyped me up to no end. He just has loved me so incredibly. And he is such a big part of me starting to do art again because he just loves me so much and has been always so encouraging. And I just haven't been embarrassing to him. So then I started to think like, maybe I'm not embarrassing. But anyways, so I am working for the city in this programmer desk job, doing like uniform purchasing, and then I started doing like special events, and then I'm doing my graduate diploma and I want to switch in and do my master's. So now the year is 2022. I graduated from art school only 1 year earlier. I actually ended up overlapping those degrees because I was taking all those online courses at Thompson River and then I started at SFU. So I graduate in 2022, I'm not even sure, during COVID. I think it's 2021. One day, me and my husband go and we're sitting in a little park. We just got married like 3 months ago. We're talking, he asked me, what is your dream? Like if you could be somewhere in 10 years, like no, like it can be so unrealistic. Just tell me like your dream day 10 years from now. And it's your daily life. What does it look like? Anything you want, doesn't matter if it is so impossible. So I think about it and I'm like, okay, just no reservations. Just gonna be completely honest. This is what I would love, all factors aside. And I was like, okay, we wake up in our house, blah, blah, blah. We live close to the beach. And then I am a full-time artist and I go to my art studio and I just create the whole day and whatever, that's my life. Like, I don't know, I think maybe we had a kid or something like that because it was like 10 years from then. And I'm 26 at this point, 2 years ago. So, essentially in that story, I was an artist. And he's like, okay, our whole relationship, I haven't made art. But he knows, like, he's seen my old stuff and whatever, and he's so encouraging, and he's always wanting me to do it again. So he knows, like, it makes me happy and whatever. And I don't know why, after that conversation, I was like, I need to start doing art again. Like, I hate an office job. I don't like being in school. Maybe I'm just not like a crazy academic like type person. I can't spell for shit. Like, I can't write an email without 15 spelling errors in it. It's just like, this is not my strength, you know? So I wasn't quite there yet, but I'm kind of being like, maybe let's just do art again, even if it's just for fun, even if it's just for me. And he was always like create something, like just have fun, whatever. And it was a couple weeks after that, I think we were talking about my job with the city. It was 4 days a week. It was regular part-time. And then I was also in school. So I started thinking, I don't think I want to do my master's. I think I just want to finish this graduate diploma and I guess I'll get a full-time job or whatever. I'll try to get my remaining 8 hours. I worked like 32 hours a week. So I was talking to him about that and I was like, do you think I should try to get a full-time job, or do you think I should pick up a little side hustle on my last day of the week, like Friday or whatever? And he was like, I feel like you should just make art on your last day. Like, even if it's not a job, but you're just gonna make it for you and it will make you happy. Like, I just feel like on that last day of the week, your 5th day, you should just make art. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he like believes in me this much and he loves me this much that he would like be like, we don't need that $250 from that last day. Just make art. Like, oh my gosh, obsessed. So I feel like that shifted something in my brain and I was just like, I don't know, it just gave me so much freedom. So this one day at the end of July, I'm like having the worst day of my life. I don't want to get into it, but my mental health has been, I have barely scratched the surface, you guys. Like, it's been a roller coaster. Also, I started doing therapy 2 years prior to this, so that really, really helped. Because I was a monster to be in a relationship with, just because I was very emotionally unavailable. But I wanted to be a good significant other, so that's why I started going to therapy. But then I did talk about some of this, like being embarrassed about my entire existence and everything I've ever been decent at kind of thing. Usually when you're having an awful day, you're getting depressed or something, you kind of like will lean into it and just let yourself rot in bed. But this day I was like, we need to get out of this. So what is going to get me out of this? Even if I really do not want to do it. And I was like, if you go to the beach, I love the beach. I love the beach. Go to the beach and just paint, just create something. Even though it's going to be so bad. Like, I was so worried and I was so scared to start creating again because I thought I had lost my ability completely. It's been like 4 years at this point, maybe almost 5 years. And I'm like, I just need to make something. Even if it's the most ugly thing I've ever seen, I just need to make something for me. And even just that one step will make me feel so successful and so brave. Just one step closer to who I actually am. Because I feel like I have been trying so hard to be something I'm not in every aspect of my life. Not just like school and work, but like my whole personality. I feel like I was constantly trying to be something different. I pack up a bunch of stuff, some watercolors, some snacks, get a kombucha, and I go to the beach and I just paint. And I had the best time and I made the ugliest little painting I've ever seen, and it felt so good. And I just knew when I was there, like, this is what I'm supposed to do. That day changed the trajectory of my life. I was like, okay, even if I'm bad at this, I'm gonna start creating again, just for me. So then I start making some pieces, trying out some different mediums and stuff like that. So that was very end of July. I did that in August, September. September, I start posting on Instagram a little bit, and then people were really excited about my new pieces. Some of the old people that used to be in my life were excited that I was creating again, and people wanted to buy some of my pieces. So I thought, okay, I'll make a website. Make my website. I'm working and in school in my last semester at this point. Make my website for October. And I started thinking, what if I can quit my job and just do this full time? Because people are buying my pieces. Every piece that I'm posting is selling. And I wasn't selling them for very much, but I'm thinking like, okay, I'm gonna make a website. I'm gonna post the pieces I've been working on. If I, for 1 month, make the same I'm making at the city of Surrey, I'm gonna quit my job. And I said this to my husband and he was like, yeah, go for it. Like, we're so young. Like, this is only 2 years ago, but I was 26 and he's 25 and we're just like, live, laugh, loving. Like, the forward thinking was like, we weren't worried, we weren't concerned. We're like, if you make the same amount in 1 month, I'm sure you could do that the other 11 months of the year. Like, it will be fine. I'm hating on us, but like, it worked. So a couple people in my life that were like, what are you doing? You're so stupid. But it worked, so we're all happy. And that's how I became a full-time artist. And I have not looked back. The journey has been so incredible. I have grown so much. And the funny thing is that when I started creating again, I hadn't really healed this part of me that was still so embarrassed of just me and felt that like everything that I am is wrong. But since doing art full-time, it has like healed me so much and just changed my perspective on myself. And I just feel so proud of who I am. And I feel so just like my true authentic self. Like, I feel so aligned with who I actually am and like my strengths. I'm just leaning into my strengths and letting those speak for themselves. And my weaknesses, I'm not so bothered by them anymore. It's like, yeah, I can't spell for shit. Like, yeah, I'm not great at numbers and I'm not like super logical all the time. And like, I'm more sensitive and emotional and free-spirited and that sort of thing. And I'm just like, that's fine. Like, that's me. And I'm okay with that INFP, like, fairy thing. I'm fine. It's like, it's okay to be me. And I'm actually proud of who that is. And yeah, so there's so much more to say, but this has been really long and I'm exhausted. I feel like I just did a therapy session. But that is my story with art and creativity. And I am just so grateful for the fact that I can be a full-time artist and that this is my life. And I wouldn't change anything. I'm so excited. So much has changed in the last 2 years and I've grown so much and it's just been so amazing, all the opportunities that have come my way. I've learned so much and I'm just so excited to see where this career takes me. I feel like big things ahead. Yeah, I love you guys so much. And to anybody that has been following along and encouraging me, thank you. I know that it feels like, I know when I comment on other creators' stuff, sometimes I feel like they don't even see it. I see every comment. I read every comment and like all the positive encouragement you guys have given me and the affirmation stuff like that. Like, that is what has made me okay with myself and like actually feel like I'm worth something. And I know you shouldn't get your affirmation from online, but it has made a big difference. And I just want to say thank you so much to everyone that has supported me in any way, whether it's just like following me, commenting on the occasional thing, buying a piece, like sending me a DM. It means the world to me. And I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you guys supporting me. So I want to thank you so much. And if there are specific things you want me to talk about, let me know. I kind of enjoyed this. And also I want to do some like vlog sort of things on the day that is the 2-year anniversary of me creating art again. Last year I went to the beach again and I just did a watercolor piece again and I wrote a letter to myself. So I think I'm going to do the same thing this year and maybe I'll take you guys along and do a little vlog. But yeah, thank you so much for all your support and love, and I love you so much.